Ooligan is an award-winning non-for-profit general trade press that publishes books honoring the cultural and natural diversity of the Pacific Northwest. Ooligan Press is a teaching press staffed by students pursuing master's degrees in the Department of English at Portland State University. Ooligan Press is proud to introduce its Spring 2022 titles.
The desert has taken Vajra's mother, her friends, and even her freedom. Using her magic and alchemy, she desperately tries to save the one thing the sands haven't taken from her, her future. Hi, I'm Ren Haynes, and I'm the project manager for Court of Venom, Ooligan's first fantasy title, publishing April 5th, 2022. Court of Venom follows the story of Vajra, a young woman who was forced from her seaside home as a child and traveled with her mother to settle in Iran, an oasis city in the middle of the desert. Her mother fell in love with the king, and now, after their deaths, she is hounded by her stepsister, Queen Selena. Using her talent for potions, cosmetics, and a little bit of magic, Vajra spends her days saving silver to escape the dying city and free her mother's spirit from the witches in the desert. Vajra overcomes hostility, poverty, loneliness, and even love to achieve her goals. Court of Venom is an adult fantasy by author Kristin Burchell. Kristin does an amazing job of centering the characters in the story. With an almost all-female cast, no one character is tasked with carrying the burden of an entire gender's representation on her shoulders. This Bechdel test-approved novel is easy to get into and will delight both hardcore fantasy fans as well as the casual fantasy reader. We are utilizing a number of different avenues to market this book. In addition to a robust social media marketing campaign via Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, our team is reaching out to fantasy-themed book boxes to include Court of Venom in their subscription boxes during the launch month as well as subsequent month to keep interest and sales high. We are utilizing our partnership with the Multnomah County Library System to attend the Public Library Association Conference in spring of 2022. We have also worked with our author to create a booklet of Court of Venom's constellation signs to allow our readers to get invested in the story even before its launch. We are currently seeking reviews and blurbs from well-known authors such as Jennifer Armentrout and Patrick Rothfuss, in addition to fantasy reviewers, blogs, and book talkers. Our team is also working on ways to get other fantasy TikTokers interested in the book for potential promotional materials such as Court of Venom potion-inspired cocktails. We're so excited to see Court of Venom come to life this spring. Now, I'd like to introduce the author herself, who'd like to say a few things about her book.
Hello, my name's Kristin Burchell, and I'm the author of Court of Venom, due to be published by Ooligan this spring. Well, a while back, I had read about all the unexpected effects of the cosmetics that people were using decades ago. And some of those were positive and some were negative. Some of the effects could be lethal, could cause blindness, could cause madness, but people persisted in using them anyway because they felt that the benefits of the cosmetics were worth the risks. That seemed like a story that was worth telling. But I also love the idea of telling the story of assassins and their poisons and all the reasons for why they might want to use poisons and why they might do what they do. Most of all, though, I love redemption stories and how the lines between right and wrong can be so easily blurred, but it all depends on someone's perspective. For one thing, it combines a lot of different components. So there's cosmetics and poison, there's revenge, there's redemption, and then there's a combination of mythology and history. There's ghosts, there's assassins, there's even zodiac signs that are particular to this world and charts that go with them. But most of all, the cast is almost entirely women, and all of them are from different backgrounds and have different strengths and different weaknesses. Some of them perceive themselves to be strong, but some feel powerless. Some are royalty, some are servants, but they all have different strengths and talents, whether they're aware of them or not. And they all have their own way of dealing with adversity. My readers will think about different definitions of beauty as they're reading this. And I hope that they'll have a sense as they're reading, but especially at the end, of a sense of hope and optimism and the idea that everyone has the power and the ability to change their circumstances. that their past doesn't have to define them, no matter how dark it is or what's in their past. I hope that everyone will see that everyone has their own strength and talent, even if they don't see it or realize it yet.
It's time for an endless amount of egg rolls as Tinikling takes the stage. Hi, my name is Luis Ramos, and I am the project manager for Love, Dance, and Egg Rolls, forthcoming May 10th, 2022. Love, Dance, and Egg Rolls is the story of teenager Jamie Santiago, who is dealing with the pressures of high school life. His dad is constantly embarrassing him by feeding his white friends egg rolls and always singing karaoke. For Jamie, it is sometimes easier to hide his Filipino side altogether. However, when an incident shakes up the entire school, Jamie deals with it the only way he can, through dancing Tinikling and his love of sitcoms. But when the last ever folk dance festival falls on the same day as homecoming, and when his best friends and crush are on the line, tradition can take a back seat. Or can it? Love, Dance, and Egg Rolls is a YA Own Voices title by Filipino-American author Jason Tanamor. We were so excited when we could get Tinikling front and center on the cover. Tinikling is a dance that involves two people beating and sliding bamboo poles on the ground in coordination with dancers who step in between the poles. There has never been Tinikling on the cover of a book before, and people are already raving about it, especially those who grew up with Tinikling, a dance that is a sort of rite of passage for many Filipinos. Our marketing plan consists of a nationwide educator outreach program. We want to reach Filipino clubs, multicultural organizations, schools with large demographics of Filipinos who would love to see themselves represented in books. Growing up, the author did not see many Filipinos in books. Therefore, he has made it his mission to create characters that aren't faceless or white. The book also includes a bonus recipe card for egg rolls, one of Jason's very own and very secretive family recipes. The book's launch will coincide with Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. We will have a national social media campaign and use hashtags such as Own Voices, Tinikling, which has more than 12,000 posts on Instagram, hashtags of Filipino food, AAPI, Asian American and Pacific Islander, and above all, the hashtag Fill the Shelves, which aims to spread awareness of Filipino heritage writers and illustrators. We are currently seeking blurbs from other Asian American YA authors who are writing similar themes. Authors like Gloria Chow, who wrote American Panda, Y. Chim, who wrote The Surprising Power of a Good Dumpling, Filipino authors like Randy Ribeye, Patron Saints of Nothing, and Kelly Yang, who wrote Parachutes. Lastly, we hope to get a blurb from Guatemalan American author Jennifer De Leon, who wrote about a young teenage girl who transfers over to an all-white school and deals with some of the same issues Jamie deals with, in a book titled Don't Ask Me Where I'm From. We can't wait for Love, Dance, and Egg Rolls to be released out into the world, and we are so excited for our author Jason Tanamor that we would like you to meet him as well.
My name is Jason Tanamor. I'm the author of Love, Dance, and Egg Rolls, and the book will be out May 10, 2022. One of the things I enjoyed doing Filipino-wise as a kid was dancing in these Filipino folk festivals. But I was a product of a second-generation Filipino where I was really struggling to assimilate into white culture. And the inspiration kind of came later, because for the last few books I wrote, mostly characters were white or faceless, because I didn't think that people of color deserved to be main characters. It was just something that media and society had kind of conditioned me. So it wasn't until recently, and I'm in my mid-40s, that I finally decided that, we deserve to be main characters. And so that was kind of the inspiration for writing it. Filipinos tend to be lumped in Asian categories. And even when I was going to school or filling out applications or whatever, I always struggled. Do I check the Asian American box or the Pacific Islander box? But it seems that Filipinos tend to just get lumped into Asian categories. But when you think of all the Asian projects out there, most of them are resigned to Chinese, Japanese, or Korean history or culture. So the book is different because this actually puts Filipino family in the forefront instead of just secondary or stereotypical characters in the background. I had posted the cover, and a couple writer friends of mine, some of them being Filipino, both said the same thing, was like, Tinickling on the cover of a YA book. Can you imagine? And I never really thought about it, but I can't think of any book, YA or otherwise, that does feature Filipino culture or dancing on the cover. So I think it really is very unique in the sense of what the story is about. With the country being so divided, I think it's important to show young kids, especially those of color, that they belong equally in a society that should be made up of many different races and cultures. I mean, especially now, it's just so weird out there. I can't even imagine being a kid, a person of color growing up. So this book really reinforces that idea that people of color can be the main character in their life. And, it's something to be proud of.